This is a video that reviews how to prepare and resolve dissonances when you are writing chord progressions. We can also call this PRSV writing. And here are the steps you'll need to remember when you are preparing and resolving dissonances. First, resolve any danger notes, as I call them, that's dissonant notes from the previous chord. Next, prepare any dangerous notes in the current chord, and then write the rest of the notes and make sure that all necessary members of the chord are present. Let's try it with this progression right here. I've written the bass line in the first chord, and we'll write the rest of the chords together. We are in the key of D major. Here's our first chord. And then we have a 6 minor 7, 2 minor 7 over scale degree 6, 5 7, 1 with a suspended ninth, which I'll show you, and then plain old 1 chord. What I'm going to do first is write out the notes of each of these chords just in a snowman form and with on the upper staff. So here we have a 6 minor 7. Scale degree 6 is B. And then to make a minor 7th chord, it's going to be B, D, F sharp, A. Here we have a 2 minor 7 over scale degree 6. Scale degree 2 is E. And then a minor 7th chord is going to be G, B, and D. Next we have a 5-7 chord. Scale degree 5 is A. And to make a 7, that means a major minor 7. So that's going to be A, C sharp, E, and G. Remember that there's a key signature here, so some of these notes are sharp, and so that's why these are minor 7th and major minor 7th chords. Finally, we have a 1 chord with a suspended ninth. That means we have a plain old 1 triad. And then we also have a ninth above the bass, which is E. Don't worry, that's not in your homework. Okay? And then we have a plain old 1 chord. All right? So if we put the notes of the chords we need in snowman form, they would look like this. Next, we are going to identify what the bass note of each of these chords is and what the danger note is. What the danger note is. And remember that danger note is the note that is the chordal 7th. All right, so we'll start with a 6 minor 7. The bass note is going to be that B. And the danger note is going to be the 7th on top. That's going to be A. I'll write a D there for danger. Sorry about that noise. Let's take a look at this 2 minor 7 over 6. So there, that slash means that the bass note is not the root of the chord, but instead it is scale degree 6. So the bass note is going to be that B. And then the danger note is going to be the D. We'll take a look at the 5-7. The bass note is going to be A, or scale degree 5. And then the danger note is going to be that chordal 7th, or G. Finally, let's take a look at this 1 sus 9. The bass note is going to be D. And maybe you can take a guess. What do you think the danger note is here? Usually the danger note is the one that forms dissonance. And if you think it's E, you are correct. That should be a D. If that E were not there, we just have a nice plain old D major triad. But that E is adding that danger or dissonance to the chord. All right. Now we know the notes that we need in each of these chords. Now we need to write them so that it forms a nice smooth chord progression, and so that we prepare and resolve all of those danger notes. Let's start with this first chord. Remember, our first step is resolve any danger notes from the previous chord. Well, this chord has no danger notes, so we don't have to do that. Next, we want to prepare danger notes in this chord. Well, we have a danger note A. So in other words, to prepare the danger note, we need to lead to that note by step or by repeating a note. So we'll look back at the previous chord and ask ourselves, is there a note that can go to A by step or by repeating a note? And the answer is yes, the A. That's my preparation. Okay. And now I need to write the rest of the notes in the chord. Okay, so what do we have? We have a B in our bass. That's taken care of. And we have an A. The other notes we need are F sharp and D. And it looks like I can just put those two notes underneath the A. So that is our first chord. All right. Next, let's take a look at 2 minor 7 over 6. First things first, we need to resolve danger notes from the previous chord if we can. Is there a danger note in this previous chord? Yes, in fact, I'll go ahead and write that in purple to make it clear. Okay. And so this is the note that is sort of in this position of danger or dissonance, and so it must go down by step. So can this A go down by step and reach one of the members of this chord right here? Well, yes, it can. It can go down to G. And G is included in this chord. All right. Now we'll write the other members of this chord. So we have a B in the bass. We have a G right here. The other notes we need are E and D. Okay. And remember that this G right here is the top voice. So the E and the D have to be underneath the G. Okay, so something has to resolve in the same voice. And so if you have a resolution to G in the top voice, the other voices have to be underneath. So I will put the D down here. That's a D and that's a D, and I'll put the E right here. And there we have the chord right there. Oh, and I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to prepare the danger note in this chord, which is a D. Okay. So that is our preparation for that danger note right there. Okay, I apologize for that error. As it happens, I already wrote a chord that's okay. All right, going on to this 5/7 chord, these are the notes we need. Okay, let's first resolve any danger notes from the previous chord. Well, here that danger note is our D. Can that go down by step to a member of this chord? So we're going from D down to C. If you go from D down to C sharp, that C sharp is part of this chord. So this D is going to go down to C sharp. Okay. Next, we're going to prepare any danger notes in the current chord. Okay, so the danger note here is G natural. So is there a voice here that can lead to that G natural by step or by repeating a note? Yes, the top one. Okay, so that is our preparation. Okay, and then the bass note is given. So we have, and then finally we'll write the rest of the members of this chord. So we have an A in the bass. We have we have a C sharp down there, and we have a G there. Okay, and so this middle voice will just stay on E. Okay. Final progression. First, we're going to prepare we're going to resolve any danger notes from the previous chord. Okay, so this G natural is a danger note. It has to go down by step. And we can go down by step to this F sharp right here. So that resolves that G natural. Okay. Next, we will prepare any danger notes in this chord. This E right here is a danger note. Okay. So I have to lead to that E by step or by common note. You notice I have an E right here, and so I can keep that E in the same voice to prepare this danger note right here. Okay. And then finally, write the rest of the notes and make sure you have all the necessary members of the chord. Okay, so I have a D here, check. I have an E here, check. I have an F sharp, check. The only note I'm missing is an A natural. Technically speaking, if you have a root position triad, you can sometimes omit that fifth, but I think it's nice to include it. So I'll have that C sharp go down to A natural. Notice that the C sharp is going down not by a step, but by a third. But that is fine because the A natural is not a dissonant note, so it doesn't have that constraint added to it. Okay. Last chord. First step, resolve any danger notes from the previous chord. So here's my danger note. That must go down by step. So it's going to go down by step to D. Okay. Prepare any danger notes in the current chord. Well, there are no danger notes here. And then write the rest of the notes in the chord. So I have a D here, and I have a D down here. I also want to have an F sharp and an A. So I can just repeat the F sharp from the previous measure, and I can keep that A right here. Okay. I will now play this entire progression. And I'll play that progression with some sort of arpeggiation pattern. Something like that. That's all you need to know for your PRSV assignment. Study this video again if you need to. I know it seems like a lot, but once you start practicing, you might find it comes a little more easily. Have fun.